Hello, we are back. Let's go to the next slide. You see I gave you notes regarding my comments on the professional conduct and on the readings, so you have that information in writing. Let's now move to a section you are probably very interested in, which is course assignments. And we have 3 types of assignments in this class. One I mentioned is the Blackboard and the discussion forums. The second is a reading group, which is essentially 2 or 3 of you, which we'll be talking about together in a group, and there will be an assignment for that. And third, we have our written work. Let's look at the syllabus and what it says about some of these things. It starts with the Blackboard discussions. After each class, which I told you were on a Wednesday evening time frame, after each class, essentially, within 24 hours, I will post on a discussion forum for that week's class a question or topic or some kind of comments that I want you to respond to with a post on the forum. This is graded. This is a mandatory homework assignment. It shouldn't take very long. Some are a little more complex than others, some weeks, but essentially this is the one thing you have to do every week along with your reading that is going to be graded. And I gave you information rather detailed on the syllabus. So as I say, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I do expect you to read it and understand it. And I do have a note on here. You must post at least a minimum of 1 time, at least once, but please no more than 3 times. We don't want someone just taking over the discussion. The goal here is for you as students to discuss and share information, and as adult learners, we learn best in that type of situation. So let's have a nice discussion where we share and help each other learn. We must keep to the weekly topic, to the question that I have posed, and I think that you will find it very interesting to see what your fellow students have to say about these topics. So there was a 1-week time frame again for you to do your post. As I said, I will post it within 24 hours of our scheduled time. You will have till 11:59 p.m. Tuesday evening, in other words, the night before our next scheduled class, to do the posting. So you will have about a week to do that. That is our normal time frame. And, okay, so that is the first type of assignment. The second one, reading groups. This is going to be something that is kind of a group assignment. There will be about 2 or 3 people per group. And what you're going to do is, when we look at the course outline, you will see that some weeks it says reading group 1 or reading group 2. I've assigned reading groups for certain weeks, and your group will choose one of the required articles to do a little critique on, very brief, and ask some questions that might generate discussion. The people being graded on this are the people in the group. The other students may or may not respond and discuss. There will be, again, a discussion forum for each reading group, for each class. However, the mandatory part of this assignment is that the people in the reading group put their comments and questions on the discussion forum. Other students may post responses or add to the discussion if they choose, but it is not required. The syllabus does outline pretty distinctly what to put in the post and how to do it. If there are further questions, of course, you'll let me know. The thing is, what I do want you to do before our next class, I want you to email me. Look at the course outline and see which weeks or topics different groups are assigned. Decide which one you would like to be in, which topic interests you, and then email me as to which reading group you want to be in. Each group will have two opportunities to do this. So just look at the two topics and see which ones you think you would be most interested in participating in. Let me know. Also give me a second choice, because I may have to make some adjustments if everyone asks for the same group. So give me your first choice and your second choice, and send that on email. Okay, the next type of assignment is the written work. That's pretty much the largest graded assignments, the written assignments. I have put in, I think, a lot of detail what your written assignments are and how to do them, what would be expected. You can see we actually have a short, what I call mini paper, due for next week's class, for class 2. This is based on one of the required readings, and you can see by the directions what you are to do. This is not considered an academic paper in the sense of you don't need references, you don't need to do anything. This is more a very brief paper. We're talking 2 or 3 pages maximum. Let me make a little aside comment here. When I give you the page length, and I say the maximum, is 2 to 3 pages, that means your text material can be 2 or 3 pages, not 4 or more, and not less than 2. I want this paper to have at least 2 text pages, but no more than 3. If you add a title page, or if you're adding a reference page, which in this one you don't have to, but if you were to, those are not part of your page length that's required. And this particular mini paper has no references required. It is not an academic paper. It was more to see what you thought of this reading, what you gained from it, your understanding of one of Frere's terms, and how you put it together in writing. Is for me to see that. And this is not, as I say, an academic paper, but it is very important that I see how you interpret what Frere has to say. This will come in handy later, this information, believe me, and you'll be referencing Frere in the future. So it is one of your required readings. Let me say that I will be pointing out more specific information on the bigger papers, which are academic papers, later on in the course. We're not going to take the time to do that today, but as we get closer to when these papers are due, we'll talk about it more, and I'm sure you'll have some questions that we will answer. Now that I mentioned academic paper, you might say, what do I mean by academic paper? An academic paper is something that is not a journal or written up in the first person. It tends to be something that is more objective. It is based on doing some research and having references and citations. It is not about what you personally believe or think or feel. It is not a personal expression. It is more on the basis, more like the articles you'll actually be reading in this and other courses. If you look at the journal articles, even though you're not writing this as a journal article, your papers, but if you look at those, you'll get a sense of what an academic paper would look like. It is based on research or information obtained from some valid internet sources, normally government sources or very well-respected foundations or social work organizations, research groups. But we do not think of academic papers as personal expressions. We'll be talking more about that later, but I'm hoping you understand most of the information that you will get when you write your academic papers are from peer-reviewed journals, or as I say, from valid websites for data. That's where the APA style comes in handy. As a matter of fact, it is required, the APA style. It is more than handy. It will signify that you understand how to do citations and references, that you know how to present material that you have gleaned from other sources, respected sources. The descriptions of all the papers that you have to do are in here. As I say, we'll be talking about that at more length in the future, and I'm sure you will have questions, even though I tried to make it as specific as possible, the directions. But let us now move on to briefly say the grading weights. They are specified in the syllabus. And now the most important part of the syllabus, probably, for you, is your course outline, which starts on page 11, and it details every weekly class schedule and the assignments that are due for every class. And I believe it's pretty clear. I hope you understand it. There are 14 classes. The semester actually ends on December 11th for this fall term. So our last online class will be December 9th. We don't have a final exam. We do have papers. We will have our midterm paper and our final paper. Those are the big assignments, but we will not have any other final exam. Okay, before we go into the course outline, I want to take another brief break, and then we will continue with the course outline.